Hello out there in YouTube land. This is Morrisman, and thank you for coming to another episode of Tell It Like It Is, and my co-host
Joseph Spencer.
Now you probably just noticed something kind of different. It's like, why aren't you guys in the studio today, and why aren't you dressed?
I want a hat.
You want a hat?
No,
We'll give Joe a hat after the show. But today we decided to kind of do more or less kind of a more laid back, kind of a round tables type of discussion. And we're going to touch on two topics today. One is going to be sports, which I'm going to kind of handle because I'm a sports buff and Joe is more or less an art kind of connoisseur. And the other topic is going to be...
I'm an art punk.
Beatnik.
Beatnik, yeah, right. They were punks.
And the other topic is things that we can't do anymore that we used to do. So without any further ado, we're going to get into the sports thing. And I'm going to kick this one off. I guess I have some very unique observations. I know nothing stays the same, but I have an issue with things that just don't make any sense, or they're doing it based on something that doesn't make any sense. And what I mean as far as that is sports. I look at sports now as opposed to when I was a very small young person. And I can recall back then that it was based on logic and things that made sense. Now it's decisions made by the corporate office, and these guys know nothing about the sport because they never played it. They're just rich people that own teams now. And they call the shots and don't know what the hell they're doing. And I gave you a good example, and Joe can attest to this. When I was a kid, or probably more so when Joe was a kid, let's say baseball, for instance, there was just one pitcher that played the whole entire game,
9 innings.
Unless he got, rocked, as the term they used to use, and they had to take him out. Other than that, this guy pitched the entire game. Now in baseball, you got three guys. You got the starter, the middle relief guy, and the closer. So you got three guys on any given day on the mound pitching. And it's like, is this such of a daunting task that they need three guys to do it now?
Like I said earlier, the rotating cup, it wears out.
And that's because they're throwing pitches that are bad for the arm, like the screwball and knuckleball. Those pitches will destroy your arm, so why even pitch or use those pitches? But, it's just an interesting observation. The pitcher now who makes a whole lot of money versus the guy pitcher back in the 50s, maybe made 5 times more money. And he only had to pitch 3 innings now as opposed to an entire game.
Them guys probably made $90 a week.
Yeah, but yet the guy who sits behind the plate, the quarterback, or should I say the catcher, he squats for the entire game. And I challenge anybody out there today, squat down for 5 minutes. Just, put on your favorite song and squat for 5 minutes, and that'd be the longest 5 minutes of your life. But yet they don't give him three guys, a starter catcher, a mid-relief catcher, and a closer. I think that guy deserves more of a break than the guy on the mound. But that's just my opinion. And I look at how they've kind of stepped away from the fundamentals of the game. And what I mean by that is, this is like a textbook example. The beginning of the inning, first guy gets on, and he's on first base, no outs. 99.9% of the time, the playbook would call for a bunt to advance the guy from first to second with only 1 out. And usually if there's just 1 out, the other two guys between the two of them might hit a base hit and bring that other guy in. Mm-hmm. Now they do this. First guy gets on, no outs. And the guy that's up now is supposedly their flagship player who's the home run hitter guy. And they won't let him bunt. They're going to let him swing away hoping to get a home run. And the majority of the home run hitters are strikeout leaders. They strike out more than they hit home runs. And it's interesting, when Dusty Baker came to Chicago, he brought those fundamentals back. And they almost got into the World Series as a result of the fundamentals, because Dusty was real big on that. If there's a guy on first base with no out, the next guy, regardless of his batting average or his home run statistics, he's going to bunt to advance that guy. But now, corporate has gotten into the game of calling the shots, and they don't know what they're doing. It's interesting with baseball that a good example, the Cubs. Mr. Epstein, the leader or the guy that they brought in, the general manager, he literally traded off all of the Cubs, and it's like now it's a whole new team. And now it's customary that the team that goes under this undertaking that they won't be expected to have at least a winning season for 3 to 5 years. And maybe in 7 to 8 years, maybe a championship.
But they still get paid.
Exactly. It's outrageous that 8 years, it's like... But as soon as, they bring in these new people, they get rid of their quality players. Because you got to have an experienced couple of guys on the team to bring along the rookies. And still, your whole team is based on guys that have only been in the league the longest 2-3 years, as opposed to the seasoned veteran guy that's been there 8 or 9 years who can help these young guys develop quicker with his leadership. They want to trade these guys off and bring in all these new guys to save money. And I understand that it's a business as well as a sport, but there's just no logic in the games anymore. Same thing with basketball. But let me touch on football more so quicker. It doesn't make any sense, and I use the Bears as an example. Jay Cutler was injured a couple of months ago due to a groin injury. He's supposed to be out for about a month, and he rushed to come back because he didn't want to lose his spot. But the guy that was his undertaker, or should say the second string guy, won the game he played. And it's like they got two guys in relief when they have the starter quarterback, and if the starter goes out, just simply let these other guys play. If it was up to me, which of course it's not, everybody on every sporting roster would play within a 90-day period, meaning that everybody that sits on the bench and within a 90-day period have played. It's still let these guys sit on the bench and get rusty, and these other guys who are the starters coming in with broken arms or, about to have surgery after the next 2 games, and they still in there playing, not 100%. It's just insane to me.
Well, I think it's a lot of theater.
Yeah, it's a lot of theater. It's
politics.
It's politics. It's corporate.
Money.
When it should be about the way the game should be played. Yeah. The logic of the game as opposed to what the general manager wants us to do this because, he's calling the shots. Instead of letting the coach. Because should have been no reason that Jay Cutler should have been allowed to come back so soon. That was the coach's decision. But the coach is more or less a talking head for the upper head, the corporate guys, and that's what they want them to do, is to play these high-profile players as opposed to they've been injured, let their bones heal, and let these other guys come in and get some experience and help win games. It's just insane that this is the new sports, the new way of doing things sports-wise. It's just ridiculous, But that's enough on that. And I guess our next topic is, and I kind of let Joe handle this one first. The next topic is things that we can't do anymore like we used to. And I give you one example, and then I turn it over to Joe. 30 years ago, you could literally leave your front door open, and not worry about somebody walking in.
Yeah.
You can't do that no more. Now you got a lock on it, an additional lock and security.
Right.
So on that note, I'm going to turn it over to Joe while I squig on some nice cold bottled water.
I remember the first time when I was a kid, went outside and the laundry was going from the lab. Mother freak. I remember when I woke up in the morning and found a white man in the backyard tied up with a rope. I said, Mother, there's a white man in the backyard tied up with a rope.
He's drying off.
What?
He's in the dry cycle.
My mother told me I was dreaming, go back to bed. Several hours later, the police showed up and accused my mother of tying a white man up in the backyard and sticking him up. He was an insurance man. I want to make a point. We live in a world where neighbors stick up neighbors. They got the same thing you got. And they're going to come in and take the same thing away from you. They're going to take your biscuits,
and
your
I guess
greens.
That's an age-old discussion that just evolves because You know, when I'm dead and buried, my daughter will be sitting here or just sitting and having the same conversation about as she was growing up how things have changed. Because over my period of years in my lifespan, I've seen a lot of changes, and a lot of them are not good changes.
Yeah.
Again, you can't leave your doors open. You can't leave anything outside. I remember when I was a teenager, if the supermarket was closed and you was on your bicycle and thirsty, the pop machine would be outside the store, even after closing time, and you can get you a soda, you know, and to hold you over to the mall to the store open.
Yeah.
Now they removed that and put it in the store. Same thing with the newspaper stand. You used to put your dollar in there or quarters and pull out your paper. Those are gone too.
Nickels. Newspaper used to cost a nickel.
Yeah, and now they're still in the newspaper.
It's still in the
You know, the news guy throws the bundle out there in front of the store at 4 in the morning. They open the store, the papers are missing. Who's stealing papers? And who's buying papers? I can't see somebody out there got a discount paper for you, but apparently something happening.
Well, how much is a newspaper now? $1.75? Yeah, well, so if you got 100 newspapers.
I've yet to have anybody come to me and offer me a stolen newspaper. So I don't know where these papers are going. I'm like, who's buying stolen
You go
paper?
into the store and get your newspaper, and you know. All right, now, a newspaper can cost $1.75. I walk up to you and go, hey, man, I got a newspaper for 75 cents.
But I yet to ever see anybody to do that. I've never seen no. I mean, you sometimes see the guy outside begging.
Yeah.
You also see the guy out there with the link card, but I've never seen the stolen newspaper guy.
But they out here, man. They really are.
I guess they are, but I haven't ran into nobody that even ran into those guys. It's like, who's selling hot paper?
But what paper you gonna buy? You gonna buy the $1.75 paper or the 75-cent newspaper?
Well, I live by law-abiding, rules, and I would just pay for my paper. I wouldn't buy a hot paper, but I haven't had anybody walk up on me and say, "Hey, I got stolen paper for you, 50 cents off." I haven't seen that guy yet. I don't know. I mean, it's just sad that we have stooped this low that we're doing.
I've seen guys take people's newspaper off the porch.
Yeah, and that's different.
And go down the street and sell them to somebody else.
Well, usually they steal them for themselves.
Yeah.
So I understand that because you stealing and saving yourself some money, but you stealing them and selling them? I ain't seen that guy yet.
I've seen it. See, a lot of people miss out on stuff when they're driving. I'm a walker. I've run into all kinds of stuff in our fair city.
I imagine so. I just haven't seen the stolen newspaper guy yet.
I think
He's elusive like Bigfoot. There go Bigfoot, Yeti, and the newspaper stolen guy.
Try to sell me a straw hat. Hey, man, you want to buy this? He got one hat.
Yeah. I've seen the guy one day when I went to the gas station. He was trying to sell me something that he stole out of the gas station I was going in. I'm like, no, thank you, guy. I'll pass. Okay, we're back, and we're going to continue the discussion on things that you can't do anymore. And what's on my list is trick-or-treating. When I was a kid, we could actually freely go trick-or-treat and not having to worry about people trying to put razor blades in the apples or put stuff in the candy. Now I really feel sorry for these kids because they have to be closely monitored as far as someone taking them to houses and watching them and monitoring them. And, we used to have a great time. That was a big event for us, going out there getting candy.
I'm older than you, and it was even more freer for me than when it was you in the 50s and in the early 60s. We could stay out to 12, 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
Everybody's parents knew everybody's kids.
Yeah. And they used to also throw Halloween parties for us.
Yeah.
So all of that stuff. Yeah. And softball, it's like, whatever happened to going to the park playing a softball game? I haven't seen anybody play softball in about 10 years.
Well, the softball games, the people started betting on the games. I've had some Irish friends. You go to pay. We go to a softball. I went to softball game. I don't play ball. And I was sitting back drinking a beer, and all of a sudden they handed me a box and said, "Hold this, Joseph." And I sit and held it and looked into it. It was $30,000. I get back on the south side. I see brothers be doing the same thing out there, drinking, playing softball. It's not about the fun. Nothing is about the fun anymore. It's about profit.
Well, I know things also evolve because the new thing now for kids is this.
Yeah.
Xbox, iPads. And, they're like the 15-year-old, 80-year-old guys.
Yeah,
It's like I see these kids, literally teenagers, they sit down all day long. They don't go out there and run and burn calories. They like a 60, 70-year-old man.
Yeah, well,
you know, they ain't moving from that seat for 8 hours.
I try to have conversations with them when I see them out on the street on the bus, or or they're sitting somewhere.
Texting and they, playing games.
They don't hear words you say.
They don't hear what you say. They're in a whole other world.
The ones be texting and playing the game and be listening to music at the same time.
Yeah.
And it amazes me. I don't want to cut down my senses like that.
I don't either.
Yeah.
It's funny that you said it, because when I used to go to parties, that's one reason I did never drink. Because I want all my senses. I don't want to be somewhere drunk and out of my mind and somebody going to rob me or hurt me.
Right.
I'm like, I actually want more senses.
Miss out on that little chick that really dig you.
Yeah. I'm like, I actually want more senses since I'm around a bunch of strangers, because I don't want nothing to jump off and I get caught in the middle.
This new thing they got out with the visual hookup and the glasses, they're going to put those out soon. They're going to be hooked up in ear. Visual thing on a computer. You can see the computer through this little eye thing they got going, and then you got your phone. So you're gonna be cut down audibly, visually, and with your.
So you're not very vulnerable.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't understand why people want to kind of hinder their senses when they're in an unfamiliar environment. It's different when you're at home. Okay, I got my headphones on. Other than hoping that I don't miss the UPS guy ringing the bell.
Mm-hmm.
You're okay. But you got these people out in the public places, all goggled up, headphoned up, texting away. I thank God that I grew up in the era that I did. I have no complaints as a kid growing up.
Did you ever see that Twilight Zone where it was a guy, he read books all the time?
Burgess Meredith.
Yeah, Burgess Meredith. Yeah. And he went into the vault to read his books.
And he was about to feast on all these great literature pieces, and then he dropped his glasses. Couldn't read it.
But the point I'm trying to make, when he came out of the vault, everything was destroyed.
Yeah.
It reminded me of the earpieces and the eyepiece and the, you get cut off from the world. You get cut off. People ask me, what are you looking at when I'm looking up at the stars at night? And I've had people go, damn. So, well, when you're in your 40s and your 50s, you've never seen that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
been there for trillions of years and you've never, it's amazing.
It's a different world. Somebody pasted on Facebook just today. It had a picture of egg beater. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Make your cakes and stuff. And it's like, what is this? And please tell me what's this used for? I'm like,
are you serious?
It wasn't 100 years ago. It was like 20 years ago that you would make your batter or beat your eggs.
I'm living on Constance, right? And one of my neighbor's sons came, their phones were out, and he says, can I come use your phone? I said, yeah. And I knew he was going to freak. So I said, use the phone in the kitchen. And he goes, and he's standing there with the phone looking at it. He says, Joe. I said, yeah. What is this? It's a telephone. What's this round thing? The rotary phone, yeah. And he's going, what? And he's completely lost. I said, well, look at it. I said, Chris, look at it. He said, yeah, I see the letters and stuff. What in the world you do with this?
Remember when the phone numbers used to have the
letters?
Preface,
Yeah.
Bensonhurst 56752.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
because I used to watch the Honeymooners. All like
I was with BO5,
and they used to share the lines. There was no one line. It's like 5 people share the phone line.
When I was a kid, at certain times I knew you could pick up the phone and hear the neighbors talking dirty to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, baby, I see it at night.
So technology has come a long way.
It's came a long
and
way.
like I said, and we're going to end this with this. And I said this before in another one of our talk shows segment. We have this wonderful technology that we didn't have 20 years ago, but yet you tell me that we can do all these things, but yet we can't talk to our kids and try to get our kids back on track. Because again, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but our foundation, the Black Family Foundation, is just disappearing as far as a mother, father, married each other, loved each other, and had kids. Now, it's customary to have these young women and young men, because they're responsible too, or not responsible, that they're having sex in their mother's houses and having kids still at home. So, until we fix that problem, nothing changes, But
nothing changes, is right. But it goes all the way back to you working in the field and you're 14 years old and have a couple of kids.
Yeah.
But when you have kids, that means you can have a bigger workforce.
Yeah.
You know.
But I would love to see we collectively, law enforcement, social agencies, the government, get involved with trying to bring back that family unit, because we really need it. Because people that think that it doesn't affect them, at some point in time, it's going to trickle into your picket fence world, and you go come home and go to work and don't see anybody outside, but one day there might be a guy out there waiting to rob you because he's seen what you got, and he came from that environment. So we can't turn a blind ear to what has happened to the decay of the black family structure, and we really need to take another look at it and really focus on trying to fix it. And on that note, I'm going to sign off, and as always, I thank you guys for coming to my show, Tell It Like It Is. I'm Morrisman, and my co-host is
Joseph Spencer. Spencer Joseph.
And until next time, take care.